28-second knockout victory in Tokyo, Ultimate Fighter Season 14 winner Diego Brandao knows there's no better way to start the new year than to stop Brian Ortega. Ready to take on the featherweight elite in 2016. Unbeaten rising star Brian Ortega will look to carry the momentum from his stirring fight of the night win over Thiago Tavares into Las Vegas tonight, when he battles Ultimate Fighter Season 14 winner Diego Brandao.
Hoje eu tô com muita confiança porque eu me preparei ano para essa luta e ninguém vai tirar isso de mim.
I'm riding a good momentum right now, coming off a victory over Thiago Tavares, and I got fight of the night. And this is putting me in a good position to just keep fighting big names and keep rising to the top.
Known for the black belt level ground game he learned under the tutelage of the legendary Gracie family, Brian Ortega is a scary submission artist. But all aspects of his fight game are on display when he scored the biggest victory of his career against the veteran Tavares.
I think he's underestimated. I mean, it's a good thing. I like being the underdog in anyone's mind because it gives him more of a surprise when I show up there.
Since winning the Ultimate Fighter in 2011, talented Brazilian Diego Brandao has weathered a series of ups and downs. But in 2015, DB appeared to have found the consistency he was missing as he stopped Jimmy Hedges and Katsunori Kikuno in successive fights.
Para vencer o Brandao hoje à noite, eu acho que é só botar pressão nele e fazer meu jogo que eu treinei por ano.
Unbeaten in his professional career, Brian T-City Ortega, just 24 years old, and he's got a rock-solid coach, mentor, friend with Hiron and Henner Gracie.
Yeah, Hiron and Henner are fantastic coaches, fantastic jiu-jitsu practitioners themselves, and of course, what a lineage. You know, where they come from, and their father created the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Their grandfather really designed Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, it doesn't get any better. And Brian Ortega carries that lineage with him into the octagon, but he also carries very good striking as well. And that's one of the things that we saw in the Thiago Tavares fight. Opened up a lot of people's eyes because he's undefeated. He's undefeated. He's won a lot of fights by submission, but his striking is something to be feared as well, and it helps him set up those submissions.
A big opportunity for T-City. He makes the jump to his first pay-per-view card. He tore up the 8-year veteran Thiago Tavares on the feet, earning that fight of the night in New Orleans. Still teaches jiu-jitsu at the Gracie Academy in Torrance, but when it comes to his striking, he can be quite a savage. The first 2 rounds against Tavares, he utilized his great grappling skills, then he finished them in round 3. Diego Brandao, born in Fortaleza, fighting out of Manaus. He has spent some time over the years at Team Jackson. More recently, though, Joe, he's gone back home. He also had back-to-back wins over Jimmy Hedges and a 28-second stoppage, as I alluded to earlier, of Katsunori Kikuno.
Well, they're very similar in a sense that Diego Brandao has very good ground skills as well. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's won Naga, the no-gi class, twice. So his ground game is at a very high level. We saw him submit Dennis Bermudez in the finals of the Ultimate Fighter. But what he's been doing more for success than submitting guys is knocking them out. He has really, really strong power in his punches. And he likes to brawl. He likes to get involved in those fights. And that Kikuno fight, man, I mean, he looked like a man reborn in that fight. Came out incredibly confident and just put it on him.
Nobody got out of the first round when they fought Diego Brandao on season 14 of The Ultimate Fighter. He is coming off a first round finish, the 14th of his career. our tail of the tape for this featherweight fight. Diego Brandao, 4 years the elder of Brian T-City Ortega, who will have a very, very slight reach advantage. Once again, here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC featherweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record. 9 wins, no losses, 1 no contest. He stands 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighing in at 145 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Los Angeles, California, Brian T-City Ortega! And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record. 24 wins, 10 losses. He stands 5 feet 7 inches tall, weighing in at 146 pounds. Fighting out of Manaus, Brazil, presenting the Ultimate Fighter Season 14 featherweight winner, Diego CB Brandao. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, John McCarthy.
Big John McCarthy, our referee. The beautiful Brittany. 4 Octagon girls working tonight. Our first fights of 2016. Diego Brandao.
You ready?
Brian Ortega.
Ready? Go.
Here we go. White trunks for the man called T-City. Dark trunks for the Brazilian DB, Diego Brandao.
Hard leg kick by Brandao, but falls down from it. And another one to the inside. Again, Diego with serious power. And here's a right hand over the top.
Diego Brandao, coming off that season 14 of The Ultimate Fighter, Joe, is, really billed by many as the next big thing.
Well, he certainly has the potential, and he certainly has the ability. He's just been hot and cold as a fighter.
That said, the 2-man.
Big armbar. Look at this. Diego, though, with jiu-jitsu skills of his own. But look at Ortega immediately spinning to guard. Diego with some good shots from the top and gets right back up to his feet with a smile.
Both men, black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The knee just missed from Ortega.
Ortega's going to have to weather the storm, Mike, and there's a hard leg kick by Diego. He's going to have to weather the storm. What we're seeing from Diego is more power and more speed and more fluidity in his striking. There's a 1-2, a hard right hand and a left behind it. Oh, there's another hard right hand. But Ortega with the clinch here.
Trying to get Diego Brandao down on the mat. Watch for the knees here. Now it's Diego initiating.
Much more MMA experience for Brandao as well. It's another thing to think about. Takes him down, but Brian Ortega will attack off of his back. It is not a safe place to be in his guard. He's got a strong overhook on the right arm of Brandao, and Brandao's got to be careful there. Now, as soon as you see a guy from the bottom doing a body triangle, he's not going to attack, unless he's got a guillotine. The only thing you can attack with the body triangle is the neck.
Posturing up is Brandao, looking for the elbow.
Ortega blocking that elbow, but not the second one.
Diego Brandao, winner of 4 of his last 6 fights.
Well, I think the Conor McGregor fight really woke him up.
And the Dustin Poirier one prior, where he had trouble making weight.
Well, Conor lit him up, and he's won his last 2 fights since then spectacularly. And he looks different. He looks more focused, more intense. And this is a very big, big fight for him.
That fight was in July of 2014 in Dublin, a 5-round main event. And look where Conor McGregor is today.
Again, we're seeing the efficiency in the striking of Diego. He just moves quicker, and his technique is tighter.
Much more controlled, much more calculated, just as powerful as ever.
Well, there's more danger behind what he's doing than when Brian's doing. As far as striking.
To the body, answered by Brandao. Ortega unbeaten as a professional. 9-0, 1 no contest.
One of the things they tried to work with Diego at Jackson's is getting him to calm down, getting him to relax, so that he doesn't burn himself out in the early rounds.
And that message, Joe, may not have stuck initially, but you can see in the long term it definitely has.
Well, he's definitely learning. He's 28 years old. He's still growing and maturing as a fighter.
This is his 35th professional fight at age 28.
He showed good defense right there as Brian tried the 1-2. And Diego's looking for the counters, but getting a little reckless here.
Yeah, he's got a cut under the right eye. Ortega has connected more than once. 1 minute on the clock here in round 1.
Good head movement by Diego.
Good hand position. T-City switching his stance back and forth, which he does pretty much every time we watch him fight. Very comfortable with that.
There's a nice combination there by Diego.
Diego just slides out of the way of that one. To the body.
Brian looks a little looser here. Looks a little more relaxed. There's a nice kick to the body by Ortega.
Now Brandao in the southpaw stance. Fighting long, Brian Ortega. Brandao stays at southpaw.
That was a good stiff right jab by Ortega.
Now goes to orthodox, final seconds of the round. Switching up, much like Ortega does. Diego Brandao ducks under.
Over here. Perfect, champ. Deep breaths.
Relax.
You got it. Very good. Deep breaths right here.
Get tired. Please get tired. Relax.
Looking great. Very good. Movement. Same thing. We know what we got to do. Deep water. We talked about it. Take your time. Drawing him out. You already see him sucking wind now, little by little.
Oh, he is tired.
Perfect. Perfect. We love it. Second, third round. This is us now. Don't get too committed. Don't get too aggressive. Perfect. Movement. Work from the guard. Don't be scared to work from the guard. Open up. He's going to want to hold you down. Open it up. Open that body triangle. Start to do your elbows. You know what to do. Perfect. How do you feel?
Good.
All right. Okay. Perfect. Looking great, champ. 100%. Movement.
There you go. Perfect. Everything's fine.
Everything's perfect.
UFC has teamed up with 7-Eleven to give fans a chance to win a new Harley Davidson. Download the 7-Eleven app on a smartphone and verify your age for a chance to win the motorcycle. Also visit a local 7-Eleven store for additional ways to enter. Harley Davidson, the motorcycle, worthy of being in the octagon. Round 2.
So we saw the corner of Brian Ortega very happy with what's going on, meaning that Brian is relaxing, looks a little bit more loose, didn't get hurt in that fight, got tagged a couple times, but he's fine. But more importantly, they believe they're taking Diego into deep water. They're taking him in the second and third rounds where his kinetic, explosive style will slow down.
But as you and I talked about more than once in round 1, that, leave it all in the first 30 seconds of the fight approach, not the one Brandao's using tonight.
Exactly.
Both men looking to find their groove and take a definitive advantage in this fight here in the second.
There's a good left to the body and a right over the top.
Mixing things up. The Brazilian Ultimate Fighter.
But slowing down just looks different in the way he's moving. He doesn't have that explosive snap that we saw in the first round.
Ortega coming off a
coming
very
over.
impressive
Coming
win
over. You know where it is.
Thiago Tavares.
Every time, same
Henner
shot.
Gracie. We mentioned
He's getting tired, Brian.
lineage of the Gracies, of course, but the relationship with
Never
Brian
shot, Brian.
Ortega.
Deep water. We got it. Deep water.
Deep water. He's
Take your
deep
time.
water. There you go.
Perfect.
Much like you said, Joe, deep water.
Yeah, you can see Brian relaxing, being a lot more loose, seems much more comfortable, and you definitely see a slower Diego Brandao, a more tentative Diego Brandao. There's a good kick to the body by Diego, though.
Diego over the top on the counter.
Well, Brian Ortega has shown that he can take a good shot, that's for sure. Because especially in the beginning of that first round, he got hit with some good ones.
Brandao mixing it up, much like Ortega. Accidental poke. John McCarthy says, let's keep going. just about to the midway point of this fight. Brandao is taking a look up at the clock. Quick little switch on that inside leg kick. To the body nicely. He likes that body with the left hook, Joe, and then over the top with the right.
But Ortega eats him, and he slides away with it. You know, he's getting hit, but he's moving.
Brian Ortega, just 24 years old. That win in New Orleans was his first career win by TKO.
I like that jab to the body by Ortega.
Oh, nice counter.
Nice right hook counter.
Deep waters does not mean that Ortega starts, throwing caution to the wind. They want him to stay calculated throughout this entire fight.
Well, Ortega's very nice and light on his feet, and I think that's a key in this fight, that he can move away as Diego makes those calculated explosions. And he has to be more and more reserved with those calculated explosions. There's a nice right hand by Diego. But as the rounds go on, he's going to do those less and less. And the more Brian Ortega can move like he's moving now, the more it will discourage Diego.
To the body again. But Diego Brandao is really showing some great head movement tonight, like that right there.
But again, look,
missed
calculated explosion.
Yep.
There's a nice 1, 2, 3.
Brandao having more success when he initiates. Ortega blocks the counter.
The ability to absorb the shots has perhaps been the most impressive thing about Ortega so far. Nice check. And good defense.
Diego Brandao definitely owning the center of the octagon. Scott Ortega circled. Again, ducking under nicely. No wasted power there.
Ortega saw that coming a mile away. Got his left leg up, but that one went right through.
10 seconds remain in round 2.
So now Ortega is in a dilemma, because even though Diego's slowing down, Ortega hasn't really done anything to him. He hasn't hurt him. He hasn't done. He could possibly be down 2 rounds here.
Yeah, we got to give him one now. Breathe, deep breath.
Relax.
Ready for a takedown or what? Put him down, you got him.
What?
Then do a takedown or what? You got one for me? Yeah, we have to, yeah. Let's put him down. We're just too skeptical on the cards right now, so we want to get in there and put him down.
Very interesting. Henner's calling for a takedown here. Here's an overhand right by Diego. And caught Ortega. And here's another one here. That one right to the forehead. Very solid shot there by Diego Brandao.
UFC fans, let your voice be heard. Tell us who you think is winning each fight by following at UFC on Twitter. All it takes is one click to vote on how you're scoring the fight. See all of the results live. Find out how your vote stacks up. Third round, the end of round 2, Diego Brandao playing a little bit with Brian Ortega and motoring into his corner.
Well, Diego is clearly pacing himself in that second round and not here in the third. He looks fired up, and Ortega with the takedown, but gave it up, went to his back. But you know what? Ortega is so good off of his back, that might have been a part of the strategy all along if he couldn't get the takedown, pull guard. Because his guard is very good.
Thus, and Diego lets him up.
Yeah, Diego's like, no thanks. And again, on the ground, pulls him in, and let's see what Diego decides to do.
Brandao, Joe, started his training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at age 14.
Brian Ortega is so active off of his back that it makes fighters very uncomfortable. He's such a classically trained jiu-jitsu guard.
Bracy Jiu-Jitsu black belt. It says it all.
Oh, he's got it.
Can he lock it down? Look at that finishing right here.
He's got a choke.
Looking for the win.
He's moving to the mount.
Can he
He's
lock it
changing
in?
to a guillotine here. Diego's in deep, deep trouble because Brian Ortega is a finisher. He's only got one arm in play, though.
Diego's out for now, at least.
But he's going to go to an arm bar. He's going to go to a triangle. Look at how active he is. It's beautiful. He taps.
It is all over.
Beautiful.
Brian Ortega by submission.
That is just lovely.
Great transition.
Just the technique is just so nice. So beautiful to see. That is a classically trained Gracie Jiu-Jitsu black belt. What a beautiful transition from choke to second choke to triangle. I mean, man, let's take a look at that because that was just a work of art.
Fight replay brought to you by Bud Light, the perfect beer for whatever happens. Here it is, Joe.
Yeah, let's look how he does it. So he gets a hold of him, and here's the scramble. Now, immediately, he goes to Anaconda. He's going to, so he's got an arm-in choke here, and he moves to the mount, turns it into a guillotine. He's only got one arm in play, so he decides to let it go, and he lets Diego scramble right into this triangle, slaps it on, and then look at immediately how he turns the angle. See the angle? Man, that is tight as a drum. That's beautiful.
Brian Ortega remains unbeaten in his professional career. Winner by submission. To make it official, here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee John McCarthy's called a stop to this contest at 1 minute, 37 seconds of the third round, declaring the winner by submission due to a triangle choke, Brian T-City Ortega!
Outstanding finish here is Joe.
Okay.
This is both our fight. We both put a show. We both deserve to be on TV. And you got to thank your camp, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Brian, for taking the fight. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Brian Ortega, first of all, congratulations on an excellent victory. You weathered the early storm, and I heard Henner Gracie saying to you in your corner, take him into the deep water, take him into the deep water, and it seemed like as the rounds went on, you got more comfortable, more relaxed with your striking, but man, the jiu-jitsu, so beautiful. Talk us through this, because this transition, when you go from choke to choke, and then roll into the triangle, please just talk us through this right now.
Well, pretty much every time I train with the Gracie brothers, they're like blankets over me, so I did the same thing, and it's something that we train in the gym every time at the Gracie Academy. We go from choke to choke to choke to choke. You think you're out of the fire, but you know, you're not.
You rolled into this triangle and immediately turned to get this angle and just locked it up so tight. That was a very quick tap. You could tell how tight this triangle is.
They call me T-City for a reason, baby. Triangle City.
Beautiful, beautiful technique. Congratulations on a big victory.
I just want to thank God, because without him, I'm nothing. All God, glory to God.
Brian Ortega, ladies and gentlemen.
Triangle City, T-City. One of the true young talents inside.